Best wishes to you, my dear listener, who has chosen to rise above confusion and seek divine understanding in your finances. There are seasons when the loss you experience is not visible in your bank account, but felt in your peace, focus, and energy. You are losing money without realizing it because wealth responds to awareness. Until you become conscious of how your habits, words, and mindset affect your finances, the flow of prosperity will quietly slip through your hands. Say Amen. There are spiritual and practical leaks that must be identified and closed before true financial abundance can begin to flow freely into your life. Awareness is the first act of restoration. You cannot fix what you do not see. Every time you ignore where your energy, time, or money goes, you open a small door for lack to enter. Wealth is not only about earning, it is about retaining. When you operate blindly, without discipline or attention, you are unknowingly giving away what heaven has already provided for you. Awareness shines light on those silent losses, those unnecessary expenses, unwise choices, and unguarded words that drain the very blessing you prayed for. Money is a spiritual servant. It responds to those who are awake and purposeful. Many lose money not because they lack talent, intelligence, or effort, but because they lack awareness of divine order. Awareness brings wisdom into your financial flow. It helps you discern when to sell, when to save, and when to speak life over your resources. Every step you take in awareness becomes an act of stewardship, proving that you can be trusted with greater increase. There are invisible leaks that come through your thoughts. Every time you believe that wealth belongs to others and not to you, you create a blockage in your flow. Awareness exposes those limiting beliefs that have kept your hands closed while expecting open blessings. You must begin to see yourself as worthy of abundance, not by your own strength, but by divine purpose. Awareness renews your identity, teaching you to operate as a vessel of provision instead of a victim of lack. Look closely at your conversations. Every word you speak about money is either closing a door or opening one. When you constantly speak lack, fear, or frustration, you are giving permission for those things to manifest. Awareness teaches you to guard your tongue because your words create your reality. Begin to speak with intention. Every statement of gratitude, every declaration of abundance, every moment you acknowledge divine supply becomes a seed of increase. Awareness is not just spiritual, it is practical. It requires you to track your spending, plan your giving, and use your resources with purpose. Many people pray for financial miracles while ignoring the waste in their habits. They want abundance but resist structure. Awareness brings discipline, and discipline is the container that holds the blessing once it arrives. Without awareness, wealth will slip away faster than it comes. Sometimes, your awareness must extend beyond money itself. Pay attention to the relationships you keep, the environments you stay in, and the voices you listen to. Some connections drain your energy and focus, the very resources that attract provision. Awareness allows you to protect your peace, your focus, and your financial flow. When you start noticing what truly adds value to your life, you automatically attract increase and repel loss. Awareness opens your spiritual eyes to opportunities hidden in plain sight. What you call coincidence is often divine strategy disguised as routine. Many have prayed for breakthrough, but missed it because they were distracted or unaware of the moment. Awareness keeps you sensitive to timing, prompting you to act when divine provision is near. When you stay alert, opportunities will no longer pass by unnoticed. They will meet you ready. Awareness also transforms how you handle small things. When you honor small blessings, you attract greater ones. Every penny, every opportunity, every connection carries potential increase. When you ignore small things, you communicate to heaven that you cannot handle more. Awareness restores respect for the process of growth. It teaches you that every small seed matters. You are not called to live unaware. You are called to walk in divine understanding that allows you to identify where your wealth is being drained and how to restore it. Awareness shifts you from loss to gain, from confusion to clarity, from fear to faith. When you open your eyes to see what you have been ignoring, the flow of abundance begins to return stronger, clearer, and more purposeful than ever before. You are losing money without even realizing it, because the enemy of your progress does not always come with a loud noise. It often comes silently, disguised as distraction, delay, or disorganization. Every time you say, "I'll start tomorrow," every time you ignore where your energy, focus, and money go, you create small, invisible leaks that drain your destiny. The truth is, money doesn't only leave through your hands, it slips away through your thoughts, your words, and your lack of attention to what matters. Financial loss begins in the unseen realm long before it shows up in your bank account. When you live unaware, you allow the power of increase to weaken. Many people believe that poverty is only about not having enough cash, but true poverty begins in the mind that refuses to notice opportunities. Money is a servant, and servants need direction. When you are not alert to where your money flows, you unconsciously command it to leave. Awareness gives order to your finances. It tells your wealth where to go instead of wondering where it went. There are spiritual principles that govern money. Every careless word spoken about lack, every complaint, every fearful thought, these create resistance in the flow of abundance. You might be working hard, praying earnestly, but if your words contradict your prayers, your results will delay. Awareness begins when you take responsibility for your confession. You must start declaring life over your finances. Say, "Money flows to me with ease and purpose. I am blessed and guided in every financial decision." Money responds to focus. Where your focus goes, your energy flows and your results grow. Many lose money unknowingly because they spend more time worrying about not having enough instead of learning how to manage what they already have. The moment you shift your focus from fear to faith, from lack to abundance, you activate a law that attracts provision. Awareness changes the atmosphere around you. It creates a mental clarity that magnetizes opportunities. Every time you ignore your budget, every time you make emotional purchases, every time you waste time on unproductive habits, you are losing wealth that could have multiplied. Awareness teaches you to respect the process of stewardship. It doesn't mean becoming fearful of spending. It means becoming intentional with every decision. Each rupee, each effort, each hour carries power when directed with purpose. Awareness gives structure to blessing so that increase becomes sustainable. Sometimes the money you are losing is not physical. It's hidden in lost time, missed opportunities, and unlearned skills. Every delay in your growth is a silent drain on your potential income. Awareness demands that you invest in yourself. Read, study, learn the principles of wealth. The more you know, the less you lose. Ignorance is expensive. Awareness is profitable. The people who grow financially are not always the most educated. They are the most aware. Look at your circle, your environment, and your conversations. Who are you listening to? What kind of energy surrounds you? If your environment constantly reminds you of limitation, you will unconsciously begin to live in it. Awareness helps you guard your atmosphere. You cannot grow wealth while sitting in the soil of negativity. Protect your focus, your peace, and your vision, because these are the real currencies that attract prosperity. Awareness also means paying attention to divine instructions. Sometimes your provision is connected to a single step of obedience, a decision, a phone call, a project, a partnership. But when you are spiritually distracted, you miss divine timing. Awareness trains your spirit to sense the moment when God is opening a financial door. What others see as coincidence, an aware person recognizes as opportunity. When you become aware, you stop being a victim of loss and start becoming a manager of blessing. You begin to recognize patterns that once drained you and then turn them into channels that sustain you. Awareness restores balance between your faith and your finances. You stop praying for money while wasting resources. You start aligning prayer with wisdom. That alignment attracts miracles. You are not meant to live unaware of your wealth potential. Awareness awakens your ability to protect, multiply, and manage what heaven places in your hands. The moment you open your spiritual eyes to where your money is silently escaping, you also open your hands to receive the flow of abundance that was always to be yours. Many people are losing money without realizing it because they underestimate the power of their own thoughts and words. The invisible world of belief and confession shapes the visible world of finance. Every time you think, I can't afford this, or I'll never be rich, you plant a seed of limitation in your mind. That seed grows silently until it produces results of scarcity. Money responds to the vibration of your words. If your mouth speaks lack, your life mirrors lack. The first step to stopping financial loss is to change your inner language from defeat to dominion. Every financial blessing begins in the unseen realm of the mind, when your thoughts are filled with fear and doubt. You unconsciously push away the opportunities designed to bless you. Many people pray for wealth, but keep entertaining the mindset of insufficiency. Awareness means becoming conscious of every thought that crosses your mind about money. You must learn to replace thoughts of loss with thoughts of growth, thoughts of fear with thoughts of faith, and thoughts of delay with thoughts of divine timing. Money doesn't flow to confusion. It flows to clarity. When you are clear about your purpose, your goals, and your worth, you create a spiritual magnet that attracts abundance. Unawareness creates leaks. Awareness creates flow. You can't manage what you don't notice. If you're not aware of how you think, speak, or act regarding money, you unconsciously give power to loss. Awareness allows you to take back control, to command your finances instead of being controlled by them. Your words are spiritual contracts. When you constantly say, "I'm broke," you're signing an agreement with lack. When you declare, "Money finds me," you're opening the gates of provision. Every word carries energy that either opens or closes financial doors. You cannot build wealth with the same language that built poverty. Train your tongue to speak increase, even when you see nothing in your hands. What you say in the dark becomes what you hold in the light. Every time you complain, you lose more than you think. Complaining is a declaration that you do not trust divine supply. Gratitude, on the other hand, multiplies what you have. When you thank God for little, the little grows. When you curse your circumstances, they shrink. Awareness transforms your focus from what's missing to what's moving. It helps you see progress even in small beginnings. Money listens to gratitude. It multiplies in thankful hands. You are a carrier of divine ideas, and ideas are the currency of heaven. Many lose money unknowingly because they ignore the ideas that come in quiet moments. Awareness sharpens your ability to recognize inspiration when it comes. That business concept, that creative solution, that small opportunity you dismissed. These could be the keys to your breakthrough. Awareness teaches you to value every spark of inspiration, to write it down, and act on it with faith. Distraction is another silent thief of wealth. Time is money, and every minute wasted on unfruitful habits or meaningless comparison is money lost. Awareness means guarding your time as sacred. Your focus is your wealth generator. When you spend it wisely, your productivity increases. When you spend it carelessly, your potential decreases. Time management is not just a skill, it's a spiritual discipline. Awareness makes you intentional with every moment. Money must be respected. It does not stay where it is dishonored. Many lose finances because they treat it casually. Awareness teaches you to handle your resources with dignity, purpose, and gratitude. Whether it's a small income or a large one, treat it as a seed. What you honor multiplies. What you neglect disappears. Awareness keeps you connected to the divine principle of stewardship, where every coin carries a mission and every transaction has purpose. Fear is another hidden drain. When you are afraid to invest, to give, or to take bold steps, you block the flow of divine provision. Awareness reveals when fear is disguising itself as wisdom. It helps you differentiate between caution and hesitation. Faith-based awareness pushes you to act even when conditions are not perfect, because true abundance requires motion. When you move in obedience, provision follows. Becoming aware is not just about tracking money, it's about aligning your beliefs, your speech, and your actions with the truth of divine abundance. You stop saying, "I can't," and start declaring, "I will." You stop focusing on loss and start expecting overflow. Awareness reprograms your spirit to operate in abundance instead of scarcity. Once your awareness changes, your results must follow, because wealth always flows toward the one who recognizes its source and honors its purpose. One of the greatest ways people lose money without realizing it is by failing to understand the law of divine order. Wealth doesn't just fall, it flows according to spiritual structure. When your financial life is disorganized, when your giving, saving, and spending have no intentional alignment, you create spiritual leaks that drain prosperity. Divine order means setting priorities that match your faith. You can't pray for abundance, but live in chaos. When everything in your financial world is properly aligned, your mindset, your actions, your goals, money begins to respond with order. Prosperity loves structure, and disorder is the silent enemy of increase. Every coin, every bill, and every opportunity carries a divine assignment. When you don't know where your money is going, you lose authority over it. Awareness helps you trace your flow, what comes in, what goes out, and what grows. Many people think faith means neglecting structure, but real faith builds systems. Order doesn't limit miracles, it multiplies them. The moment you bring clarity into your finances, the flow becomes steady, and unexpected favor begins to appear from directions you didn't imagine. Divine order is also a mindset. If your thoughts about money are scattered, unstable, and reactive, your results will mirror that confusion. Awareness brings calmness and focus. You stop reacting emotionally to money and start managing it spiritually. You understand that every decision carries a vibration that either invites increase or blocks it. When your thoughts are in harmony with divine wisdom, even small income streams start expanding. The secret is consistency. What you keep in order will always stay in abundance. Order requires obedience. Sometimes God will instruct you to make changes that don't make sense in the natural, like saving when it feels impossible, sowing when it feels risky, or walking away from wasteful habits. Every act of obedience closes a door of loss and opens a channel of increase. You cannot receive divine wealth while ignoring divine order. Awareness helps you hear those small instructions that protect you from future loss and position you for breakthrough. Many people think their problem is lack of money, but often the real problem is lack of management. You can't multiply what you mismanage. Awareness forces you to confront the areas where you've been careless. Subscriptions you don't use, opportunities you ignore, or spending that doesn't align with your calling. Each correction you make becomes a seed of wisdom that prepares you for greater stewardship. Money doesn't stay where it's abused. It grows where it's respected. Order also means balance. Don't let greed replace gratitude or fear replace faith. True prosperity is holistic. It flows in your finances, peace, and purpose. Awareness teaches you to balance sowing with saving, working with resting, and giving with receiving. When your heart is balanced, your blessings stay stable. Divine order keeps you grounded even when abundance begins to overflow, so that your wealth doesn't destroy your peace. Every structure needs a foundation, and the foundation of financial order is discipline. Discipline is not punishment. it's protection. Awareness gives you the strength to delay gratification, to say no to distractions, and to focus on the bigger vision. Discipline attracts trust, and when heaven trusts you with more, it releases more. Every time you make a wise financial choice, you're signaling that you're ready for the next level of blessing. Disorder is a spiritual signal that something deeper needs healing. Sometimes money flows away because the heart is still carrying fear, shame, or guilt about wealth. Awareness helps you confront and heal those inner wounds. When your emotions align with divine confidence, your finances begin to reflect it. Inner order manifests as outer order, and inner peace becomes financial peace. Awareness of divine order also teaches you timing. Not every opportunity is meant to be taken immediately. Some doors require preparation. When you are in tune with divine timing, you stop rushing decisions and start moving in wisdom. Money doesn't reward speed. It rewards alignment. Every delay that happens under divine order is a setup for multiplied harvest. When you live in divine order, loss becomes impossible because everything that leaves your hand returns in a greater measure. Awareness helps you manage your life like a kingdom, not as a victim of chance, but as a steward of divine flow. You begin to see that money is not the master, you are. Once you align your structure with divine order, the flow of wealth becomes consistent, steady, and unstoppable. You are surrounded by wealth that's waiting for instruction. Yet many lose it unknowingly because they don't close the leaks in their life. These leaks are not always visible. They appear as fear, laziness, procrastination, and constant complaining. Each negative emotion, every fearful thought, and every careless decision becomes an open door for financial loss. The spiritual realm responds to your vibration, and when your energy leaks through worry or inconsistency, the flow of money slows down. The first step toward restoration is awareness, seeing where the holes are spiritually and practically, and sealing them with wisdom, faith, and discipline. You lose wealth not only through what you spend, but through what you ignore. Missed opportunities, delayed obedience, and fear-driven hesitation are silent money drains. Every time you say, maybe later, to an inspired idea, you push your blessing further away. Awareness is the force that pulls those ideas back into focus. Once you decide to act in faith, instead of waiting for perfect conditions, you command your financial environment to shift. Money loves movement. It listens to action, not excuses. Another leak is comparison. When you measure your life against others, you waste emotional and spiritual energy. Comparison produces resentment, and resentment blocks flow. Awareness teaches you to focus on your own lane, your own assignment, and your own timeline. When you bless others genuinely, your spirit stays open to receive. Money flows to peaceful hearts, not bitter ones. Stay focused on your purpose, and your wealth will have no choice but to follow. Fear of loss also creates invisible leaks. When you constantly worry about not having enough, unconsciously they are, you're sending a message to the universe that you don't trust the source of your provision. Fear makes you cling too tightly to what you have and miss what's coming. Awareness allows you to replace fear with faith. Every time you declare, I will not lack. You seal one leak and strengthen the walls of your abundance. Wastefulness is another form of financial leakage. It may come from impulse spending, neglecting small details, or failing to plan. Awareness brings responsibility. It reminds you that every resource is sacred. When you treat money with respect, it responds with loyalty. What you honor will always stay. What you disrespect will always leave. Start tracking your flow and you'll be amazed at how quickly abundance returns when order is restored. Procrastination is one of the most dangerous leaks of all. The ideas that could have multiplied your wealth are often left undone because you waited for the right moment. Awareness exposes procrastination as a thief of destiny. Every day you delay obedience, you lose a harvest. The moment you start moving, making calls, writing plans, sowing seeds, the flow of provision activates again. Wealth doesn't visit the idle, it stays with the diligent. Another leak comes from negative speech. When you complain about lack, talk about being broke, or agree with hopelessness, you unknowingly curse your own finances. Your words build or break your financial walls. Awareness helps you catch yourself before you speak defeat. Replace every complaint with a confession of abundance and watch how quickly the energy of your life shifts. Speak what you want, not what you see. Doubt is the final unseen leak. When you pray for increase, but secretly doubt your ability to handle it, you repel the very thing you're asking for. Awareness reminds you that divine wealth isn't earned. It's received through alignment and faith. You're not too small, too late, or too weak to receive abundance. The same source that sustains creation is capable of sustaining you. Close every leak through faith-based action. Organize your thoughts, protect your energy, and guard your words. Awareness allows you to see the spiritual ecosystem of your finances clearly, where you're sowing, where you're wasting, and where you're supposed to grow. Once the leaks are closed, money flows without friction, effortlessly responding to your command. When you live in full awareness, money no longer escapes you. It obeys you. Every blessing that once slipped away begins to return in multiplied form. You become a vessel that can contain what heaven pours out. When the leaks are sealed, your harvest stops running and your wealth starts running toward you.